And with that, we'll continue keeping track of all the things that are happening as we lead toward liftoff. So let's get you up to speed. And first, welcome to those who are just joining us on social media. As you can see, we have a little bit of fog in the area today. You can see the Atlas V and its 401 configuration, and it's stacked on the launch site at Space Launch Complex 3, the West Coast launch site for the Atlas V. The Atlas V has many different configurations, but this 401 configuration means that we have a 4-meter payload fairing at the top. The 0 indicates there are no solid rocket motors for this mission, and the 1 indicates we have a single engine Centaur upper stage. We are about 10 seconds away from coming out of the hold in our count. 4, 3, 2, 1. And we are at T-minus 4 minutes and counting. The United States Air Force has been monitoring weather for us, and as you can see, some fog on your screen, some visibility issues, but that's not a constraint for launch today, so we are green on the range in terms of weather. The Air Force range is also responsible for public safety during launches from here on the West Coast and has been coordinating with United Launch Alliance and the NASA teams, ensuring that launch area and the flight path are clear for the launch of the Atlas V rocket, and we have no collision avoidance cutouts or COLAs during the window today, but right now we're tracking to a 4:05 Pacific time launch. We're at T-minus 3 minutes, 20 seconds and counting. The Atlas boosters and Centaur liquid oxygen tanks are at flight levels. The NASA launch manager, Tim Dunn, has polled his launch team. The United Launch Alliance launch conductor, Lou Mangieri, briefed launch teams ahead of the terminal count.
Minus 3 minutes.
The launch conductor has also verified with the range controller that solar radiation is acceptable for launch.
Securing LO2 topping.
2 minutes, 50 seconds.
Atlas tanks to flight pressure.
FDS internal.
We're at 2 minutes, 45 seconds to launch. The flight termination system on the Atlas V has just gone to internal. We're at just about T-minus 2 minutes and counting.
1 minute, 59 seconds.
Vehicle internal.
155.
Launch sequencer start.
150.
Securing Centaur LH2.
Securing Centaur LO2.
140.
Launch enabled.
137.
FDS armed.
You're looking at a live shot of the encapsulated spacecraft on top of the rocket at Space Launch Complex 3.
OCU armed.
FCS
The
count
launch
started.
azimuth or flight path tonight will be in a southeastern direction, hugging the coast of Southern California and Mexico.
1 minute, 10.
Vent valves locked.
We're about 1 minute, 5 seconds away from launch.
T-minus 1 minute.
Rock, report range status.
Rock, range is green.
And we have just heard confirmation that the range is green. After launch, we'll be hearing the voice of United Launch Alliance's Marty Malinowski. He'll provide a status of the flight of the Atlas V and NASA's InSight.
Minus 40 seconds.
We are listening in to the
Stable at
final
step
minutes
3.
of the countdown.
Minus 28 seconds. 25.
Go
Status
Atlas.
check.
Go Atlas.
Go Centaur. Go InSight.
We're at T-minus 15 seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 0. Liftoff of the Atlas V, launching the first interplanetary mission from the West Coast. and NASA's InSight, the first outer space robotic explorer to study the interior of Mars.
Controls. First good. Check the pressures and RPMs. Expect the band at this point. RD-180 continues to look good at this point in the mission. Check the pressures, pump speeds, expected regions, moisture ratio, controlling within expected parameters.
The RD-180 engine providing 860,000 pounds of thrust.
Vehicle body rates continue to look good. All booster systems look nominal at this point. Mach 1.
The rocket is now traveling faster than the speed of sound. Coming up, the rocket will enter max Q. This is the point where mechanical stress on the rocket reaches its peak because of the rocket's velocity and resistance created by Earth's atmosphere.
Coming up on the throttle down. Booster has throttled back, right on schedule. Signatures look good. Pump speeds, injector pressures continue to look right within band. Body rates controlling down the middle. Current altitude is 13 miles, downrange distance 7 miles, current velocity 1,965 miles per hour. Closed loop guidance has begun.
The first part of the flight was pre-programmed trajectory. Now the rocket is giving itself feedback on its flight path.
And Q alpha steering has begun. Body rates look good. Pump speeds, injector pressures, all within band. RCS pyro valve has been fired. System is now pressurizing flight level. Signatures look good. Current altitude is 30 miles, downrange distance 43 miles, current velocity 4,542 miles per hour.
You're looking at a live view from the Atlas V rocket. The RD-180 engine continues to burn.
Body rates continue to look good. RD-180 still performing well. Q alpha steering has been completed. Booster is now 1/4 of its liftoff weight. Currently flying at 4 G's acceleration. Boost phase cooldown has begun. Togo pyro valve has been fired. Moving the throttle to 5 G's.
We're at 3 minutes 50 seconds into flight, and we're nearing booster engine cutoff, or BECO.
Back to 4.6 G's in preparation for BECO. Boost phase cooldown has completed. And we have BECO. Shutdown looks good.
And the RD-180 engine on the first stage of the Atlas V has shut down.
Stage separation. We have box and fuel pre-start. The GN2 purge firing of the RCS is underway. We have ignition and full thrust on the RL-10.
And the second stage engine, the RL-10, has ignited.
And we have indication of payload fairing jettison. Looks like a good step.
And the payload fairing that was encapsulating the InSight spacecraft has been jettisoned. The RL-10C engine, the second stage of the Centaur, continues to burn.
And
You're looking at live animation telemetry
body rates look very good.
of the Centaur second stage on its flight path.
Our GN2 purge firings underway for thermal conditioning. Pump
As you can
speed,
see to the bottom right of your screen, the flight path of the rocket.
discharge, all been banned for the set MR. And Centaur has gone to closed loop PU control in a slightly fuel-rich mixture ratio correction. And a quick look at the booster stage performance shows a very nominal booster.
For those of you that are just joining us, we had an on-time liftoff of the Atlas V rocket carrying NASA's InSight spacecraft, as well as two small CubeSats called Marco.
Portion of the burn. This burn is scheduled for 8 minutes and 56 seconds in length.
You are looking at a live shot of the Centaur second stage, the RL-10C engine providing thrust.
And the RCS line temperatures are warming to throttle temperatures as expected. Centaur now controlling just slightly fuel rich. Chamber pressures, LOX pump discharge, and fuel venturi all within band.
We are at 7 minutes, 15 seconds into the flight. InSight being taken to its trajectory. This will be the first of two burns of the second stage.
All Centaur systems look very good at this portion of the burn. Up on the roll to optimize to Tidris East.
And Tidris East is a tracking data relay satellite east.
And the RL-10 again continues to perform very well. Again, requesting a fuel-rich condition at this point in the burn. Chamber pressures, LOX pump discharge, and fuel venturi, all parameter. RCS line temperatures have nearly achieved bottle temperatures. Continue to see our thermal conditioning firings on the RCS. Tank pressures are stable. Body rates look good. Storage bottle levels are excellent.
We are just over 9 minutes into the flight of InSight.
And Centaur PU is now controlling at a nominal MR. Engine response looks good.
You continue to see the flight path on the bottom right of your screen.
Centaur is currently flying at an altitude of 136 miles. Downrange distance is 1,261 miles. Current velocity 14,066 miles per hour.
This trajectory of the flight path will put the spacecraft and the Centaur in a park orbit before crossing the equator. It will go around the southern tip of South America. It will cross the southern edge of the Atlantic Ocean, come up over the Indian Ocean to the east of Africa, and cross over India.
Continues to control near nominal. RL